Folks, are we ready? All right. Let's get started. Remember to turn off phones and other things. Tony. Okay. We'll begin with the invocation. It says here, I'm doing that. And then Ezra is going to do the pledge. If you wish to join us, please rise. I would note that we started doing weekly invocations in January of 2019. And this was the one that we started with. It's the prayer of St. Francis. These days, it seems most timely and appropriate to remind people that we're all together. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. Lord, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. Ezra.
If you would join me in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Bell,
Here.
Curran,
Here.
Freeling, present, Harrison,
Here.
Hinkleman, Majerick,
Here.
Martin,
Here.
Scott,
Present.
Ballraff,
Here.
Werfel, here, Yarborough, Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 11 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. We have minutes from 2 weeks ago. Haven't heard about any changes to those minutes. Is there a motion to approve as submitted by the clerk?
So moved.
Is there support? Scott moved, supported by Martin. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Madam Clerk, we have some communications, I understand.
Yes, you received the following communication. Lynn Todman, Vice President of Health Equity at Spectrum Health, an email inviting you to attend the Community Grand Rounds event on October 27th at Lake Michigan College, received on September 22nd. Iron County Board of Commissioners, a resolution in support of amending the Michigan No-Fault Auto Insurance Reform Act, received on September 26th. Iron County Board of Commissioners, a resolution in support of election integrity as it pertains to unregulated private monies for funding elections, received on September 26th. Gogebic County Board of Commissioners, a resolution to amend Michigan's No-Fault Auto Insurance Reform Act, received on September 27th. That's all.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Sir.
I have a question. Madam Clerk, the resolution, believe was iron, was it, on the election integrity?
That was Iron County. Yeah.
That was election integrity. Do we have a copy of that? And have we done anything as a board to support election integrity in Berrien County?
Well, we, as the county clerk, I have done everything to secure the election and everything. And I've worked with Homeland Security that the integrity is in place for all voters. As a resolution, we have not presented that anything and made that known. This one also talks about the outside monies, which Benson has allowed clerks to apply for.
Correct.
And I think it's also mentioned in some of the ballot proposals for next year. And you should have the resolution attached within that email, which I sent, but I think you have a.
Right.
issue right
I
now.
have a computer issue, yes. All my
So
data
you
was
do-
lost, so
It has been sent to you, and it was sent to you on Tuesday.
thank you.
Anything else?
Microphone wasn't
Oh, I'm
on.
sorry.
I was trying to motion for you to turn your microphone on. What you said was very important. People should hear that.
Public comments limited to resolutions at this point. There are no added resolutions. So it's just the items on the agenda. Appears to be a total of 5. So if you have anything you'd like to share about resolutions at this point, that would be the time. General public comments will come a little later. Anyone want to speak to the resolutions? Okay, hearing nothing in the way of public comment, we'll move to the consent calendar. No one has asked to pull anything. And assuming that's still the case, a motion to approve is in order.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Majerick, supported by Scott. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Curran,
Yes.
Freely. Yes. Harrison,
Yes.
Hinkleman. Oh, absent. Majerick,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Walrath.
Yes.
Werfel.
Yes.
Yarborough,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, you have 11 yeas.
thank you. We'll move to committee reports. Madam Chair of Finance, you're first.
Thank you very much. What I would like to tell you is that our Community Development Director, Dan Fetty, came in and he had 3 resolutions that were voted on and they needed to go through today. And it was for the state of Michigan regarding Berrien Bus, a Title IV plan, which we must have on file, saying that we cannot deny people the use of the bus because of race or age or any kind of thing, no discrimination. Also, a resolution again about the need for allowing people that are handicapped, disabled to use the vehicle. And then there was a final resolution through MDOT about our procurement policy. And we have one that we use that is Berrien County's procurement policy that is even stronger than the MDOT one. So we're okay. We're in good shape with that. And then our administrator and our chair sat with us and talked with us about a number of things. And then executive assistant to the administrator, Annette Christie, talked to us about board appointments. And is that something you all will talk about? It goes to the PHSC, so I'll hold on with that. And then Drain Commissioner Christopher Quatrain came in and he had a resolution also that was passed today and it's approved. There are 2 of them of 373 and 022. And those are the annual drain rolls. And we have copies of it. I don't know if you'll want to see it. If you do, you could ask and get copies. But it's all the assessments and our drain roll total is $3,597,907.58. And those are assessments that have been done all over Berrien County. And we have the paperwork here. And so we concurred and brought it to you all to be done. And then we had a number of we had a bid opening and it was for a trial court social worker. And this was done on a bid because this person will be under contract. They are contracted with us. And we put this out before and no one bid it, but we did have one bid. And so what we're doing with this is turning it over to the trial court. And it's for a social worker, for them to look at it and see if it meets the qualifications and all. But we concurred that they should go ahead and work with this person if possible. Then we had a resolution that approved the weekly bills and the road payables. And we accepted our minutes. And oh, I was gonna tell you about the waivers. We had 3 waivers from our finance department, and some of it is things that we know we had to do. But it's jail cell block improvements, that's with Avon Marsh. Professional services replacement of Berrien County Direct Hot Water Loop, that's through Avon Marsh. And professional services replacements of Niles Courthouse roof and Berrien County Jail roof. All of these are through Avon Marsh. And so they're working on that, and that's my report.
Questions for finance? Sir,
Just one, I'd like to get a copy of those drain
Drain
report.
roads?
Yeah, drain roads.
Yeah, I've already noted it and I'll have the email sent as soon as you
That's
all
fine.
wrap.
That's fine.
Thank you.
okay, Mr. Chair of Personnel and Human Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We also met this morning. We had several complement changes to consider. First was animal control. This is where we're changing from a temporary 1,000 hour per year person, making that full-time. This is the assistant for the services that we provide for medical services to animals. So we approved that. We also had a complement change. We're changing the category of for emergency services to sergeant, and we approved both of those. We had an advanced step higher request from Motor Pool. This is to bring in a mechanic, and this will reduce the amount of outside work we have to contract for. And so we did approve that. We also had a discussion, and we've had a continuing discussion about reinstating the tuition reimbursement program here at the county. It was curtailed a number of years ago. And so we will be recommending that, and we approved that. And so we'll pitch that to the administrator for consideration during the budget process. We also had Rick Compton and Sue Munch come in from Riverwood. They gave us a presentation on the Children's Mobile Crisis Team, talked about a number of the issues that they deal with, providing services not just to children experiencing suicidal thoughts, but also to other individuals experiencing mental health emergencies. Then we had our county administrator come in. We talked about the hazard pay and wage study changes that are under consideration and being worked on, and where the PHSC will continue to review those at a later date. We also talked about a standard letter to employees who are writing about those 2 issues. And so administration is going to put together a standard response for us to issue. And so, gentlemen, I think that pretty much covered everything.
Questions for PHS?
And then we've got an appointment. If you want to do that now, I can do that. It's considered by finance.
Yeah, the appointment is for Eric Lester, MD, to fill a term at Mental Health Authority. I think the term is through 3/31 of 2023.
Yes, he's replacing Dr. Art Robinson, who passed away.
You're making that motion.
I would make that motion.
Moved by Harrison. Is there support? Supported by Majerick. Any discussion? Hearing none. Will the clerk, or no, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Dr. Lester is appointed to fill that term at Riverwood through 3/31 of 23. Anything else? Okay, Mr. Admin Chair, you're up.
Thank you, Mac. Interim shelter manager Ashley Herr was in to see us before she went to PHS and talked to us about the complement change, and we fully supported that complement change. After her was Sheriff Bailey and Chief Deputy Bob Boyce, and Commissioner Fullrath is going to report out on that.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, Sheriff Bailey and Chief Deputy Boyce were in. Once again, the overriding theme is lack of being able to get officers in, getting any applications in. We're short-staffed everywhere. We're still Our numbers are still high at the jail. That magic number again is 341. If we go over that for, I think it's 6 days in a row, then, you know, conditions have to change in order to get that number down. So he's still working hard. He's going to places he's never gone before to try to find recruits and recruit people into the sheriff's department. But like all our department, it's a tough go, but they're staying busy really trying to get some employees in here. During the month of September, the sheriff's office handled 2,482 calls for service. That's 82 a day. One of the headliners for calls for service is Niles Township at 421, but they have their, that's always kind of high down there, but they did have the motocross. This is a worldwide thing that came from all over the world to run in this Redbud Track and Trail grounds, and it was officiated by our deputies, hired by those folks who paid for it. During the event, they handled 17 calls for service. There was 11 citations. All 11 were for minors in possession. And then they had such things as property damage accidents, assaults, 3 abandoned vehicles. But overall, with the number of people that are out there, 60-some thousand on the weekend, it was a very well done event and very little trouble. So that's a commendation to our sheriff's department for taking care of that and handling it. You did all get this report in your email, so there's a lot of stuff in there. Now, a lot of good stuff, got a lot of good information. So go ahead and read it and enjoy it.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, and I think what we did with the animal control, moving those officers over to the sheriff's department was a good move. And it's kind of given Paul a new spark because he fills in every once in a while as the animal control officer. And so I think that's been a good move. Okay, after the sheriff, we had 911 Caitlin Samsel. Obviously, the big thing she talked about was staffing. She's down. She does have people in training, but she has to pause her hiring right now because she doesn't have enough people to train new people. She has to get this group through before she can put another group of new hires through. So she's still working on that. Because of the shortages, you know, people start getting burnt out after a while. So what she has done in conjunction with Brian is reached out to our neighboring counties to see if we could hire their dispatchers to fill in where it would involve overtime for our people. Instead of it being overtime for our people, we would have maybe a dispatcher from Allegan or Van Buren or Cass. And I mention Allegan because Allegan is our backup now, and their system is compatible with ours. We could essentially do some remote dispatching. They would not have to physically come to our center. That would be only Allegan. Van Buren and Cass would have to drive here and physically be present in our center. But those are the kind of things that, you know, she's thinking outside the box, trying to make this happen so that she doesn't lose what she has. You know, everybody likes overtime, but nobody likes too much overtime. You don't have time to recharge your batteries and visit with family and those type of things. And so those are the type of things she's trying to avoid. She did tell us that they're getting new furniture. The console furniture is being replaced at this time. She talked about the South County Tower, that the money from the state has been received and that she's working with Motorola and our own county staff to see that that gets implemented. She's anticipating December of 23, the tower should be in and up and running. And she reminded us, as I've done this 100 times to you folks, VHF is not going to be available after December 31st of this year. So everybody has transitioned over to the 800 megahertz system. After Caitlin, we had Annette. Admin has been working on a trail policy. She introduced it to us today. We had a little discussion on it, but realized we need more discussion on it. So we have scheduled or going to schedule a workshop to vet that policy even more before we bring it to the whole board. So we'll have that workshop and hopefully come up with a final product to introduce to the board. After Annette was Brian and Mac talked about the letter that we sent a year ago on the rental property. we kind of agreed that maybe a resolution would be better. So we're gonna take the wording from the letter, do a resolution, and admin committee will sponsor that resolution. And then, yes, sir? Oh, both, a letter and
Yeah, doing
a
a letter and a
resolution.
resolution to follow.
That's right, for the new legislators coming in, we'll get it to them and the existing ones. So we'll do a resolution and a letter and get that moving forward. Brian, and he gave us a memo, a packet on the old or existing juvenile center out in Berrien Center. What this is to expand the contract with Whiteman to look at the water and sewer out at that site to determine how we can keep that facility going. Because right now you got two wells. Those wells feed a tower, 100,000 gallon tower. And the first problem is they don't use enough water to empty that water tower. So periodically they have to drain it. So it's kind of a waste that juvenile center can operate on one well. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna look at that. The sanitary sewer system right now is hooked with Berrien Springs. They maintain it. We pay them to maintain it and do everything with that sanitary sewer. There's a couple of lift stations between our site and Berrien Springs, the treatment site, that are just getting old. They're starting to fail. So that would be an expense. The other thing that we want Whiteman to look at is maybe doing a septic on site and capping all of the sanitary sewers, not even use them anymore. And they also eliminate that cost to Berrien Springs. The primary purpose in doing all this is because it's apparent, folks, that we're not gonna build that new juvenile center tomorrow. We're gonna have to use that old facility. And so what we're trying to posture right now is to make the old facility usable and well usable, not just put a Band-Aid on it for another 5 to 10 years. Because we want to be prepared for that length of time, because we really don't know when that new building is going to be built. And with construction costs at $500-600 a square foot, even if we were able to build it tomorrow, I don't think we would. I don't think anyone sitting here would authorize $600 a square foot to build a building that may not be $600 a square foot in a year from now. It might be back to 3 or 4. We don't know. There's a lot of unknowns there, but we want to be prepared and have the old building or the existing building occupied and usable for at least the next 5 to 10 years. So you'll be hearing more about that. We have no resolutions for you, and that is our report.
Questions for admin? Nobody has any questions?
Is Ezra still here?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
No questions.
listen.
I appreciate that.
Maybe this night is a big move for him.
The other side of the aisle.
Maybe I needed to be on this side with you, you know, maybe.
Ezra, we'll start with you on commissioner reports then.
Yesterday, I attended the Sewage and Septic Appeals Board meeting with our corporate counsel, and that's all I have.
Thank you. On Thursday of last week, the Broadband Task Force held a Anchor Institution Roundtable. We had about 51 in attendance, either in person or virtually. We had a number of area schools, Berrien Risa, colleges, hospitals, libraries, a lot of the different community anchors that we had not really had at the table to have discussion as it related to broadband and the things that they were seeing that were successful, challenges unique to their operations. Had great conversation. We also had an update from DCS Technologies. As you are aware, the mapping has been completed for Berrien County, and we're wrapping that together so that we can put a full presentation before this board during a committee of the whole next week. Excellent, thank you. So that will be coming, but Chris was able to kind of put out some of that information, and what has been found through the data that's been collected is we have about 12,000 parcels within Berrien County of the 86,500 that exists that are currently unserved by broadband standards. So that's about 15% of the county that is unserved but could be served with proper prioritization and work like what we're doing here. And so I know that there have been some community maps that have been put together. Your communities have been reaching out to the task force to work on understanding those maps more. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Commissioner Scott, who I'm sure intended to report, or Commissioner Kern, or our staff to be able to get those answers. And we'd be happy to talk to any of your municipalities as well if they need a little deeper dive on that information. There is a BCBIT meeting today at 12, or are we bumping it up a little, or 12:30?
So it's tentatively scheduled for 12:30 with the understanding that if the board wraps early, that.
We can move it up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Started a little early.
So I do know that most individuals who want to join us virtually are aware of that, and they'll be notified. But that is it for now. That's my update. Thank you.
I attended the Board of Health meeting yesterday morning. We had an update from Adriana regarding the incidents of not just COVID, but also monkeypox, and then a discussion about the flu vaccine rollout provided by the health department. They're going to stagger it a little bit and focus on boosters for COVID now, and then ramp up for flu sometime in November. And then we had a lengthy presentation from Guy Miller and Lisa Ankenbrook about the budget for the health department, as well as their capital requests that will be under consideration. And that concludes my report.
The only thing that I have to report on, I attended a tour of the Boys and Girls Club yesterday, along with other elected officials in the area. And they brought up an interesting need that they have, a social worker on site for kids who struggle with depression. And I was happy to hear when Rick Compton was in at PHS that they've been contacted by the Boys and Girls Club, and they are working out how they can address that need throughout the many different Boys and Girls Club sites throughout Southwest Michigan and specifically Berrien County. So the tour was great. It's always fun to interact with kids and learn about the things that the Boys and Girls Club has to offer our youth here in Berrien County. That concludes my report.
I attended the BCBIT roundtable as well. I think Terry does an excellent job of chairing that committee and conducting the roundtable meeting. She did an excellent job. I just want to give a shout out to Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. John Eaglehoff sits on our BCBIT. They have been a partner of ours since the very beginning. And we really appreciate everything that John and Southwest Michigan Planning does to help us with BCBIT. I attended the Berrien County Historical Association meeting. Their signature event for this year has been canceled. They're trying to figure out an alternative, but right now they don't have one. And that's my report.
I attended the Zoom of the BCBIT meeting last week and have disseminated the maps of all of my townships to my townships. And that was just great information. I look forward to the committee of the whole next week and learn more.
My report is, first of all, I attended the ribbon cutting at the US 31 bypass. Got to meet the governor, speak with her, and also my good friend Fred Upton, since we were together, actually elected almost together when this project first started, so we get to see it end. Also on Wednesday, I was a participant in the ribbon cutting at Myers in Benton Township.
for their rain garden, which is the largest rain garden in the state of Michigan. There's actually 4 there, 3 smaller ones and a big one. I had the very pleasure of being invited up there to help cut the ribbon for it since it was in Benton Township. And I was also attended the BC BIT meeting virtually and listened to everything that's going on with that. And just this last Tuesday, I attended the Benton Township Board meeting and gave a update on county commission, county business, so to say, on what we're doing. And that's my report.
I have nothing to report.
Yes, I attended the BC BIT meeting by Zoom. Also, it was really informative. The gentleman, Scherer, yeah, he was really good. And I was afraid, I told Commissioner Freeling, I was afraid it was over when he was through, but it wasn't, and it was needed. People had so many good questions. And when you say 51, that's what I saw on Zoom, but then you had people here in the audience. So what I got from it is there is a lot of money available and we need to be prepared, and the communities need to be prepared to apply for it so that we can make things work and connect well. And then I'm trying to think, there was something else I went to, but I forgot. I forgot what it was. I was going to write it down. One thing that it was Area Agency on Aging spoke to us. And these are things that you hadn't thought about, but they, teach computer and everybody needs it. And so it was just a good meeting, and I hope you all will do that. Not let it be a long space before you meet again, because it's needed and people care. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anything?
Yeah, just a quick update. So for the board, you're going to have a budget work session on October 19th. That is a Wednesday. That's from 9 until 11:30 in this room. Immediately following that, the admin committee will be asked to stay. We'll be having a work session amongst the admin committee members related to the trail, the draft trail policy development. For next week, DCS, Chris from DCS will be presenting at the committee of the whole. This is one that it's a lot of information. So as we get through next week's presentation, if there's a desire to get more from Chris, just let me know. It's a lot to get through. And I've fed you all a link to the slide deck. I've fed you all a link to the various maps. If you want maps shared with your townships, your cities, villages, just give me a shout. I think that we've pushed them out to just about everyone. However, we'll keep feeding them out. And then just a quick shout out to our GIS department. So Lex and Helen, they have been spending a ton of time working with Chris at DCS. The intent is to take his completed report and be hosting that information on the county's website so that any member of the public will have quick, easy access through our county GIS system, so they can go on and just click a link and see exactly the served and underserved areas within the various local units of government. Last thing is for today, we're going to roll out of here straight into BC BIT, and then this afternoon we're doing animal control director interviews.
Okay. Now we're to the point of general public comments. Anything under the sun in 2 minutes or less, name and town, name and town.
Good morning, Melissa Clapper, St. Joseph Charter Township. I don't know if I can do this, so I'll just make a reference that Clerk Tyler said we had received a communication from Iron County regarding election integrity, and I didn't quite understand if they were saying to support monies that are available to they're against the thing. So I would just say that as long as the legislature is not willing to make sure that absentee ballots have postage paid returns, that if there are nonprofits out there that are willing to do that we should take advantage of it. I've heard the other side say if we all can't get it, then nobody should. And those are the same people that are in the legislature. So put it out there then and let everybody have it. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Kathy Yates, and I'm from Benton Charter Township, and I'm here today because we have a commissioner who was appointed because of an election had to be held after Donnie Meeks left. And I'm told that our commissioner does not have privy to committee meetings, and I feel that Benton Charter Township is left out at this time. And I'd like to know if there's some bylaws that support that, and if they could be sent to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Elder Hager Township. See the shirt I'm wearing? This is the day, right? So once a year I get to wear this shirt. We don't make a big deal out of it. It's not on the calendar, you know, like all the other nationalities. Now, the US is there are more people in the US that are of German descent than any other group. Now, we started coming here in the 1900s. Then a whole bunch of us, like me, came here after the Second World War. So around here, there are quite a few Germans. Started the Dank or the Dank, it's pronounced Dank, Deutsche Amerikanische National Congress, German American Congress. It was started by the Germans, it's still going, but most of the old timers are dead or gone, or like me, old. And also the St. Joe Kickers, started by Germans. You're still going today, but most of those guys they're old. So what I'm saying is, those sand rabbits down there, they called them sand rabbits because they were German immigrants. And there's still a lot of them around here. So the kids I went to school here for about 6 months, and I went to the high school over there. So when I went to school, there was a whole bunch of us. Like in my grade, there were probably about six or eight of us. But today, we don't have not much left. So I just want you to be aware. You didn't hear it on the radio, you're not gonna hear it on the news, you know, we don't broadcast it, but at one time, we were kind of big, but we don't go into politics. No, we're out there tool and die, mechanics, farmers. That's why you don't hear too many German names. Looking around here, there are a few of us.
2 minutes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Marcia Gorbitz, City of Niles. 3 years ago, we did a salary survey. This is what my job description was. We were supposed to write that things that are not included on the job description. I think only one thing on this was on mine. I filled this whole sheet of jobs that I do that are not listed on what my alleged job title is. With the salary survey, I think there needs to be reclassifications, especially for the Niles office, because we do multiple jobs as opposed to what the St. Joe does. You can use ARPA funds for the reclassifications. And if you can't do back pay, I think it should be considered a bonus. We need to be appreciated. I'd like to know when the employees that you already approved raises for from the non-union that I was asking to get this, sorry, I wanted to get the salary survey addressed. You did, but it didn't include me. So when are the employees that you already approved for, when are they getting their raise? And also, there's so many job openings. I was at the Apple Festival and I was shocked to see that there was a tent that had to be people trying to get jobs for Berrien County. These are flyers out here asking for jobs. A county shouldn't have to ask, people should want to come here. The wages, they need to be addressed. I've been here 31 years and I just feel deeply unappreciated and devalued, and I'd like to be appreciated. And I know you're addressing the salary survey, but it needs to be done quickly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I'm Lisa Hernandez from the Village of Three Oaks, and I am a 19-year employee of Berrien County down in Niles. And I know I've talked with a few of you today and said that the salary study is an ongoing thing and hopefully it'll be resolved soon. It's obvious that I've enjoyed my work since I've stayed here for so long. And like Marcia was saying, it's something that we want to feel valued and appreciated. And when I started with the county, it was something I knew I wanted to retire from here. I'm 6 years away from retiring right now. And today's generation, it feels like they're not looking at that long term. They're looking for something immediate, and obviously pay is a huge incentive. So, speaking for someone like myself that's been here, who's looking to make a little bit more money, and as far as future generations coming to work for the county, I think that's something that needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Hello. I'm Matt Kirkus from New Buffalo. You ignore real issues like toxic GMO food. You ignore remdesivir toxicity. You ignore citizens' rights to be free from state intervention, while leftist revolutionaries allow violent criminals to go free. What are you doing for the poor, besides finding more ways to encroach on property rights to create more desperation? You have a duty to learn the issues. The real pandemic is the injectable HIV spike protein, which Guy Miller promotes to this day. You stood idle while schools force muzzled and suffocated children, while they promote biological determinism, AKA racism, and woke gender ideology, AKA self-mutilation. Soon the schools will carry out forced vaccination and sterilization without parental consent, no matter what the voters say. While you are certainly too ignorant to debate Derrida or John Adams, you can use your socialist banker powers to promote some form of social democracy. I told you to grow potatoes in parks instead of kayak ramps. I told you Oakland, California found a way to deregulate tiny homes and trailers on private property to combat homelessness. As bankers, you are agents of a regime which allows 5 million, mostly military-aged men, many military trained over the border illegally, many with fentanyl to profit to further erode society. Those illegals will soon have more rights than us. Remember, they don't need vaccines to cross the border. Probably enough.
Anyone else wish to be heard? Okay, we'll close general public comment. Does anyone have any other business? The letter from June of 21 was circulated. It's going to be updated to include, this is on the short-term rentals, to include reference to the Michigan Supreme Court decision, which treated the purchase of a residential property for commercial use as commercial, not residential. And 4722, as you know, would treat that as residential and would not allow local units of government to have any say. So we wanted to add that to the letter. Julie, I'm assuming you want to add that to the resolution that's going to come out of your committee. Okay. Does anyone have anything else to talk about? Okay, we'll see you next Thursday at 8:35 a.m. We are adjourned.